Have you ever stopped to think about the invisible forces that guide our social lives? Seriously. From the way your friend group works to these massive digital worlds we all live in now, there's a hidden architecture that shapes everything we do. Sociology gives us the tools to actually see it. So let's start with something we've probably all seen or at least heard about.
Right? Think about that for a second. How does a simple group of people suddenly become something else? Something angrier, more unified, and honestly, a lot more dangerous. This doesn't just happen by accident. It's a social process with rules and roles.
And that's exactly what we're talking about here, an architecture. Sociologists have shown us that things like bullying and group aggression aren't just a simple fight between two people. No, it's way more complex. It's a structured social event, a kind of performance that's really designed for an audience.
At the end of the day, the goal is almost always about power. It's about establishing a social hierarchy, a pecking order, and controlling resources. And that resource could be anything: popularity, attention, you name it. It's a system. And like any system, it has parts that all have to work together.
And what's so fascinating here is how every single role is absolutely critical. You've got the ringleader who kicks things off, but they have zero power without their assistants, the muscle. But here's the real kicker. The most crucial role might be the reinforcers, the audience. Their laughter, their pointing, even just them watching. That's the social approval that fuels the entire thing. Take away that audience and the ringleader's power just, poof, evaporates. Even the outsiders, the ones who just stand by and do nothing, they play a part too. Because to the rest of the group, their silence looks a whole lot like approval.
So what's the operating system that keeps this whole social machine running? Well, it's not just one thing. It's actually a combination of a few really powerful psychological traps that keep all the gears turning.
First up is this thing called pluralistic ignorance, and it's basically a trap of silence. It's that weird situation where almost everybody in a group might be privately thinking, this is wrong. But because nobody says anything, everyone just assumes they're the only one who feels that way. This creates a kind of false consensus, this collective illusion that keeps the whole thing going, even when most people inside it secretly disagree.
Then you've got something called mimetic theory. The big idea here is that a lot of human desire is imitative. Basically, we want stuff because we see other people wanting it. And that, as you can imagine, creates a ton of rivalry and tension inside a group. So what's a shockingly effective way to fix that internal conflict? You redirect all that negative energy outward onto one single target, a scapegoat. Uniting against someone else becomes this powerful, almost ritualistic way to create peace and harmony inside the group.
And finally, you have the enforcer, omerta, the code of silence. This is the unspoken rule that says loyalty to the group comes before anything else, before what's right, before what's fair. In this system, reporting abuse isn't just frowned upon. It's seen as snitching, the ultimate betrayal. And the punishment for it is brutal, complete and total social banishment. This code is what protects the hierarchy and makes it almost impossible to fix from within.
Okay, so these dynamics that we see playing out in a mob, they're not just isolated incidents. They're actually tiny examples of much, much larger social forces. And to really get the big picture, sociologists use three major theoretical lenses, or paradigms, to analyze how all of society works.
The first one is called structural functionalism. The easiest way to think about it is to imagine society as a living body. Every institution, like families, school, government, is like an organ. Each one has a specific job, a function, that helps keep the whole body healthy and stable. So a functionalist is always asking, what purpose does this social pattern serve? How does it help keep society running smoothly?
Then you have conflict theory, which is a completely different take. It doesn't see society as a harmonious body at all. It sees society as an arena, a constant competition for limited resources like power, money, and status. This perspective, which was really pioneered by Karl Marx, is always asking that really critical question. Who benefits from the way things are set up right now, and who's being left out or even exploited?
And finally, there's symbolic interactionism. This one is a micro-level theory. So we're zooming way in, looking at our day-to-day, one-on-one interactions. It argues that society isn't some big top-down structure that's forced on us. Instead, it's something that we build from the ground up every single day through our shared meanings, our symbols, and our language. This lens asks, how do we, just by talking to each other, actually create the social reality we all live in?
So to kind of wrap it all up, functionalism looks for harmony and stability. Conflict theory looks for inequality and competition. And symbolic interactionism looks at the shared meanings we create when we interact. Now, here's the thing. None of these is the single right answer. The reality is, you need all three. Because society is all of these things at once. It's a stable structure, it's an arena of conflict, and it's a product of our shared reality. If you only look through one of these lenses, you're going to get a dangerously incomplete picture.
So why does any of this matter right now, in our world? Because these theories are not just some old, dusty ideas from a textbook. They are incredibly powerful tools for understanding our modern digital lives, where all these same social systems are popping up in brand new, really fascinating ways.
I mean, just take any big online fandom. A community like the one around Five Nights at Freddy's, for example, isn't just a bunch of people who like a game. It's a complex social system. It has its own leaders, its own hierarchies, its own theorists, and it's in this constant conversation with the creator. It's basically a living, breathing society that you could analyze for years.
In fact, some of these new digital societies are creating social structures that look, well, surprisingly old. Some sociologists have even started using this term digital feudalism to describe what they're seeing emerge online.
And this example from VRC Chat just nails the point perfectly. In this world, social hierarchy isn't just some unwritten rule. It is literally written into the code. The platform has this trust rank system that works like a visual caste system. Your rank, whether you're a visitor or a known user, literally determines who can see you and what you're allowed to do. It's a rigid social structure that's being enforced not by people, but by the technology itself.
So what is the big takeaway from all of this? Really, it's about learning to see the world through a sociological lens. It's about recognizing those invisible patterns and forces that are influencing all of us, all the time. Understanding these ideas, things like pluralistic ignorance, or conflict theory, or digital feudalism, it doesn't just give you a bunch of new words to use. It gives you a new way of seeing. It helps you decode the social matrix that you are living in every single day. And that's empowering. It lets you navigate your world more consciously, and maybe more effectively.
And that brings us to one last, really crucial question. If we accept that our social reality is constructed, that it's built by our interactions, our institutions, and now even by computer code, then that means it can also be rebuilt. So that leaves us with this. Who are the architects? And what role are you going to play in the construction?